These are what's been working for me, my secrets to my recent solar success. But a little bit of personal background. I'm originally from Cali, and I grew up towards the South Bay, like damn near my whole life until like about 2 years ago when I came out to initially try sales in Florida. But it's pretty cool out there. Weather's chill. It's very consistent and boring though. I like how Florida keeps you on your toes. But before solar, I was in the restaurant industry, just being a host, just doing pizzas, nothing really crazy, typical 9 to 5. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I actually cared about doing solar is because I understood what it was like to work like terrible hours and not make any money at all. So this job is really cool in that sense. But I was the top seller at Lumio when I was working there for a good period of time. I was with them for like 3.5 months, and damn near from like the moment I joined, I just started doing really well. And before that, I literally had no deals. It actually took me 2.5 months to get my first deal, but after I got it down, I was super consistent, getting 10 deals a month pretty consistently. And then I ended up going to Natural Energy in Arkansas, and I was the top self-gen for their company. So that was cool. And then, of course, now I'm here with Soligo. But I've been doing solar for almost 2 years now, and I have over a megawatt in personal sold for revenue. And I did take an extra long time as a setter to truly master it. So I could get my setters better trainings though. So it's like I knew that it was going to be a long journey. I wasn't just going to be doing solar for the short term. So I wanted to truly master setting. Even though I was good at it by month 3, I just continued to set for like the first full year and taking no breaks damn near. And then when I was able to bring out a bunch of guys down here to Soligo, I just trained them up really fast. And now I've been starting to take leads, and it's been going pretty well. So it worked out exactly how I thought it was. So it's all about setting yourself up too. You know, being good at setting is good, being good at closing is good, but you have to be able to replicate, and that's how you make a business grow, no matter what the sales job is. But right now I have like 12 guys I've directly recruited from either Cali or Arkansas or some other random place, but a lot of them are from back home. So just talk to your friends that you think are hard workers. I always start though my end of my close by having an idea of what made them want to sit down. I always ask them like, hey, like what benefit or from this program and what they told you yesterday, how do you feel like this could benefit you? And it always just like gets their mind thinking of the positives of solar or why they want to do it. And it also tells me their hot blood, like how they want to be sold. And I'll usually talk about that for the first 10, 15 minutes, just feel them out, possible like big what ifs, worst case scenarios, anything like that. I'm trying to get everything out early, and then I'll answer some of it briefly and then go into it deeper later. But it's really good because it structures the entire presentation to be exactly what they're looking for. Like, on a YouTube channel where it's going to be like, oh, we're going to talk about this, this, and this. Well, that's like pre-recorded. It could hit for what you want or it could not. But if you're asking them these questions, it literally hits every time. You might not close them every time, but like I just feel like it works really well. But then I preface, and I got this from Jeremy Lee Minor. It's so fire. Like after I started doing this preface, my close ratio went way up. And I don't know if it helps with the cancellation ratio too, but it's been pretty low. But I always say like my whole goal is to help you with all of your questions. And by the end of our discussion, if you feel like this might be what you were looking for, then we could talk about possible next steps. Do you feel like that would help you out? And literally like 9 times out of 10, unless they're a really tough cookie, they're always going to say yes there because it's so passive. Like it's such an easy way to get a yes. And it also gets their, Austin taught me this. It's always a good idea to get their mind primed and placed in a buying environment so that when they're listening to all of your information, they're thinking about making a decision the whole time, whether that be yes or no, but it's not going to be, I need to think about it. And as long as you do your job right, ask them the right questions, they get everything taken care of, well, then it'll always make sense and they'll always do it. It's not a perfect world. So, generally though, but I always like to build value on more than just the savings. I actually downplay the savings, and that's some like personal sauce that I just think is really good, especially at my price escalator. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's cool you guys are saving $50 a month, but honestly, like, I don't care about that. Like, you guys shouldn't either. Sure, it comes out to $600 a year, but that's not what matters. what matters is that you guys are protected in the worst case scenarios, and you guys will always have one net metering. It's grandfathered in, and I'll, you know, sell them on predictability and control, because FPL, Duke, they go up every single year, versus with solar, you know exactly how much is increasing, and you can rely on the fact that you'll never see an increase above 3%. How awesome is that? They're like, that is pretty awesome. Like, I know. And then on top of that, I feel like I just build a lot of trust with them, because I downplay the savings. I'm like, dude, nobody cares that you're saving $50 a month. Like, you're never gonna have to guess what your electric bill is ever again. You're always gonna have predictability and control of your electric bill. And they seem to love it. I usually have them pretty bought in by there, and I can tell if I can close them or not, or if it'll be like a battle or not. Um, and then in my warranties, I just do a funny little transition. I'm like, I always like to say, like, it doesn't matter how much money, like from net metering to the warranties. I'm always like, yeah, I always like to say it doesn't matter how much money you guys are saving or how much you guys want to do the program if you're not protected in the worst case scenarios. Am I right? And they're like, every time, yes. And then I say, that's why we have protections put in place for you guys. We have a 25, and then I say, like, the most impactful ones, in my opinion, are the 25-year parts warranty, and then I'll explain that, and then the 25-year production warranty, and explain that. But I got my whole roadmap and structure from Austin, so shout out to him. And I read a lot of books that help with like the psychology of people, or like I get little one-liners or different ideas from people that are really good at sales, like Jeremy Lee Minor, maybe some bits of Taylor McCarthy, of course, or like even if it's an unrelated industry, Alex Ramosi. I'm always just trying to get information from other sources, cross-reference it, test it, and then just try to get better, see what works for me. But how to get the glass on the roof. So I think that getting good at saving cancels is definitely an art. When I first started learning closing, I kind of thought that it was just, sitting down and closing them, but it's more than that. There's follow-up game, there's cancel, like mitigation, there's referral game too. It's a whole bunch of things. And one thing I like to do is just tell them if they have any questions before install to reach out to me, and I'll come back by to help them out, which gives me another opportunity to sell them. So like I had these two deals, like literally all three of my cancels were literally just recently, which was so stupid. But these people were like, oh yeah, we're just too old. It's too expensive. I'm like, dude, that doesn't even make sense. But they tried to cancel on Sunday, and then I had another opportunity to sell them. They ended up canceling, which is fine. But there's this other one for Eric that I got on Saturday. She was feeling buyer's remorse. I had another opportunity to come back by, and then I completely sold her again, and she was on board the next day. So it's all about, I think, letting them know, like, hey, if you do have any questions or anything comes up, just reach out to me directly and I'll come back by. And it's sweet. You're never just fighting for them. They're fighting for you at that point, because they think the only way to cancel is through you. And that's honestly how it should be, Don't like trick them into getting past the 10-day mark or whatever, but actually give yourself an honest opportunity to earn their business again. If it doesn't make sense, then hey, it doesn't make sense. Austin taught me this recently, though. He likes to always remind themselves of why they wanted to do it in the first place. And it's always a good idea to just give them a friendly reminder and say, look, like, there's clearly a reason you guys wanted to go solar the other day. It's because you see value in this and this, and just getting out any underlying the big what ifs that they're potentially thinking of, or maybe just giving them hugs and kisses for a little bit until they feel better, and then they're good to go. Sometimes people just want attention, which is interesting. But anybody have any questions as far as that goes?
So it sounds like you're pretty good at getting back into the house. I think some people might struggle with that when it comes to like cancels, right? What is your way of getting back into the house and being able to talk to them on person and not try to save it over the phone, but actually, again, like physically going back there? Like, what is your strategy, or what is your technique to go into the house or back to the house?
I think that a lot of it does with the preface, like telling them that that's kind of how it's going to go anyway. So when I tell them, like, hey, I'm going to come back by and help you get canceled, then it's like they're under the impression that I'm going to come by, help them with a couple questions, and if it doesn't make sense, then they're going to cancel. But as long as you're not like a high pressure salesman, they're going to feel totally comfortable with you coming back. I promise you, they want it to make sense. Like, they love solar. They want it. Like, if it was a perfect world, they'd be like, hell yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, do your job good. They'll want you to come back. And then you just ask again. They're like, hey, I want to cancel. Cool, what came up? I'll come by and talk to you about it, or something like that. Anything along those lines would work.
Nice. Does anyone else have any questions for Ryan? Raphael has his hand up. Go ahead. Raphael, go ahead.
Hear me?
Yeah, Raphael, go.
Yeah.
Ryan, so nothing. I was wondering, do you still do any self-genning, or are you just like closing right now, or?
I will do self-genning. Like 2 weeks ago, I was helping Max get his first deal. So I like set the lead myself and it was basically a self-gen. I gave it to him for the first one. And then immediately after that, he got like 4 deals that same week. I was like, damn, bro, like that's cool as fuck. Like that really paid off. And then like the week before that, I had this new guy, Jip. He came from California. His name's Jeremiah, but we call him Jip. And it was like the same thing. Like I knocked with him for an hour and then I self-gen this one, but it was Spanish. So then I couldn't like do it fully by myself. So I gave Angel a cut too, even though I basically set it and closed it myself.
I guess my question to you is this, like, how do you kind of set the tone? Because like one issue, like I sometimes struggle with, I'll be honest, like when I go out with these guys, like I think that they really enjoy going out with me, but the job seems easier, even though it's funny. It's like, we won't get crap till 7. Then I'll get 2 appointments and they're like, oh yeah, that was like easy for you. But the point I'm trying to make is sometimes these newer guys, because the doors are hard to an extent, right? Like I think these guys kind of get used to like going out with you. And then like when it's like by themselves, I think they're not knocking so much with intent. So I don't know kind of what your advice regarding that is, but like that's something that I think is pivotal, and that it tends to happen a lot with like especially newer guys. I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, this might be a controversial thought, but I think it's a different question that we need to be asking. It's like, I think it's really just why the setters are out there anyways. Like if you get them bought in on making a shit ton of money, well then that's not sustainable because money isn't really that awesome. Like what you can do with money is great. So like all of my guys, the reason they're out here is to learn as much as possible and just to be better salesmen. And like, we're all going to get rich together and like pool money together to have an investments. And like Steve Jobs always says, like, if you can get your team to have a common goal that everybody wants, then they're going to work harder for that goal. Cause it's like actually having a deeper why than that. Cause if people are not having the energy just to freaking knock doors, like it's so easy. Like you guys are all closers. You know that knocking doors is easy. And it's like, I don't know. If you can't stay motivated doing that when there's an opportunity to make 10K every week with no experience, 4 hours a day, like I think that's so retarded. And like, I don't know. I like the guys, like some guys on my team definitely struggle, but like most of them aren't, and it's definitely because of like the common goal for sure.
Cool.
I don't know if that answered your question, but
no. It does. I mean, I think it's a belief thing, right?
yeah.
But I also it also probably seems like you put in a lot of self-genning hours before you maybe got to that closer position, and I think most importantly, those guys do remember, like, hey, like not only like Ryan's all fancy now because he goes to closes, but Ryan can still go out there and get a deal himself. I think that's still pivotal, and
leading example. It's really cool when you can throw a setter a deal too. You know what I mean? It's like they know they didn't really do the work for that, but you guys will give him credit, and like he gets paid on it, so he's hyped and shit. And it's like, for the example of Max, like that was his first deal on like Wednesday, and then by the end of the week he had 5. And I was like, dude, holy shit! Like,
yep,
just super. It's definitely true though. You're definitely on something there. Any other questions though? That was a great question. That was fine.
No, that was a really good answer. I think the belief system is huge. Going back to kind of more on your process and kind of more on some of the things that you went over, I wanted just, if you could maybe reiterate or maybe just go over again, kind of how you explain, like the escalator and how your mindset is, or really not your mindset, but how the vibe of the sale is, again, not necessarily on the savings, but on a few other things. Would you mind just kind of like reiterating that part? Because I think right there, like that is like the gold nugget, like that is like where like the sale is, either made or not made in the way that you explained that.
I do it throughout the whole entire thing. Like it starts at 1-to-1 net metering, and I tell them how fortunate they are because in places that have had solar forever, which does two things, it shows them that solar isn't like a brand new idea and it's scary, and also shows them that it's like scarcity because they aren't going to have 1-to-1 net metering forever. Like in California, they have 1 to 0.5. It forces them to get batteries. Like you obviously don't want to come out of pocket to do solar, right? And they're like, no, of course not. I'm like, well, that's why we're super fortunate. If you can be selected for the program, then you're always going to have 1-to-1 net metering. It'll be grandfathered in. You can just take advantage on the meter on the side of your house and be able to net meter with them so that you don't need batteries and everything. But so there's that 1-to-1 net metering. I also just say like protection, just like certain keywords to build value and make them feel safe and comfortable. Warranty is like a scary word. I realized I asked ChatGPT for a lot of advice too, but protection is really good. And whenever I show them the savings too, I downplay it. So it's like, yeah, you're saving $50 a month, but nobody cares about that. What's important is you're always going to have predictability and control of your electric bill for the rest of the time that you're in the home. So like, yeah, I know like you're going to be saving $600 year one, you're going to be saving more next year and more after that because you're hedged against inflation. But the cool thing is you're never going to be guessing. It's going to be super easy to budget it out. And if at any point you're not producing what you should be, then it's under warranty and you're protected. And I think a lot of it's, tone too and things like that. But it's not super anything crazy. Like I'm sure you can do little things to increase your close percentage and your cancellation ratio too, but the big thing is just having a real solid team of guys where you're getting at least 2 confirms every day or 3 where you can do it and get high volume.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big part of your success is, the reps. And, I know everyone on the call has had reps at certain points. Maybe it's slower than it used to be for some people, but I think when you're in houses, all day, every day, then guess what? Like your process just gets so perfected and it gets so good. So to get a little bit, maybe ask you some more difficult questions, some objections that, you might get that I know others get. So what do you say when homeowners are, bringing up their homeowner's insurance? So, we'll just role play it. So yeah, Ryan, man, this makes a lot of sense. Like I like the idea of, saving a little bit of money, protecting my rate. But I've just heard that, the insurance companies are going to drop me.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with my insurance, man. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to call my insurance before I think I move forward with this.
Do you want me to sell you? Like, or do you want me to just answer the objection? Because like
Yeah,
I can.
yeah,
Oh,
role play.
okay. Okay. Then right when you said that like there was like a benefit for solar, I'd be like, well, how do you feel like this would benefit you? So like get you more on board with that. But like that's kind of off topic. So like just in regards to like the objection, I would be like, well, yeah, Mr. Mike, I definitely want you to call your insurance. That's super important. Who do you have for insurance?
We have Citizens.
Oh, okay, perfect. We work with Citizens all the time. The cool thing is that because your system is under 11.7 kilowatts, they shouldn't raise your insurance rates at all. And we do have an insurance broker with our team as well. So if they do end up raising your rates, just please let me know and we will use them to get you the same coverage with the solar and at the same price that you're paying now, maybe even cheaper. But just let me know if they end up raising the rate. It is under that 11.7 kilowatts, so you should be good to go. But feel free to reach out to me and I'll make sure you're taken care of.
All right, great. Another I guess more kind of like higher level objection that I know people get. So you're not the first person to come by. I've actually had 1 or 2 people actually sit with me and kind of go over this process a little bit ago. Like I think I'm just going to get maybe a couple other quotes. I don't make these kind of snap decisions. So
Fair. I'm the same way. I don't make those kind of decisions normally either. I need to make sure that I'm going to be working with the best company and I'm going to be taking care of them. Because like, let's say hypothetically, Mr. Mike, you do look at another company and we end up being the same price. Who would you know to go with?
I don't know yet. I have to do some more research, I think.
Absolutely. I think the important thing to take into account though is like, even if a company could save you $5 more a month, you have to be able to trust them completely that you're going to have good warranties and protections, and that you're going to be working with a local company. You know, if you could find a company that is local that will give you really good warranties and can save you the same amount that we can, I would rather you go with them. I would personally rather you just get the better deal. But I know that because Soligo is a really solid company who we're based down in Daytona, we've been doing really quality work. So it's like, I want you guys to get the best business, but it's also important to know that with whatever company you're looking at, you have good protection. As far as like our company goes, do you feel like you're going to be protected in the worst case scenarios?
Yeah, I mean, you said like the 25-year warranty, and yeah, I mean that sounds good. So yeah, Paul, so I like that angle of bringing up the local company, right? Because I know you were telling us in Daytona, you guys get a lot of companies that are always blitzing out there. So kind of being able to differentiate and show that, hey, we're actually here to stay. We're not just a kind of fly by night company. You're able to build, probably more trust and more credibility that way.
For sure. And I honestly don't care if people do business with me or not. Like, I read the subtle art of not giving a fuck, and I've said that straight to people's face before. I'm like, dude, if you can find a better company where you're gonna get the same exact protections and a cheaper price, I'd rather you go with that. No brainer. I just know, because I'm a professional in this industry, that you're not gonna find somebody like that, because we would have to match their price to stay competitive, right? So it's like, if you found that company and we came up to the same price, like, how would you know what company to go with? And usually at that, they're like, well, I don't know, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, don't you feel like because we are in the solar industry, I'm a professional, we would stay competitive with our customers? And you'd be like, yeah, like, boom. Because usually they're only saying that because they don't trust that you're giving them a good deal. So like, maybe incentivize them 3 free months or something like that, or like LED lights, make them feel.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, like, if you do get in those, because obviously not every single sale is as, easy breezy. Hey, they just say yes. Do you, when you negotiate, how do you negotiate if, like, you could tell they're right on they're right on that line, and you just got to get them over it. How do you normally get them over that line?
Through rapport, I can tell what they need. Maybe it's an electric water heater, maybe it's LED lights. And I just be like, I just kind of throw it in there. I'd be like, okay, well, I definitely want you guys to do more research into the company or into like other companies or whatnot. And like, I know that they're in it, push them over the edge. And then I'd be like, I'd probably mention the 10-day cancel, something along the lines of, yeah, you guys have 10 days to make your final decision. And if at that point, so you just need to let me know for that month and incentivize them with. And it's called an irresistible offer. I haven't done one in a while, but Austin taught me a while ago. I think it's like, I couldn't even tell you, but you just throw in the LED lights or like 3 months of power for free if you can.
Nice. So like, what I was trying to see is that you're not going to go ahead and lower the monthly price. You're going to go ahead and the number way, correct?
I don't create the price. It's based on how many panels you have and the amount of sunlight.
Perfect. Yeah.
I don't even know the price until we find out together, baby. Like, I have no idea.
Right. That's awesome. So you're never going to say, okay, yeah, actually I can lower your price by $10. No, you're going to say, hey, I can't actually lower your price. This is just what it is. It's based on the sun hours. But what we could probably do is, the company gives me, a little bit of kind of leverage, and I am actually able to give you maybe like 2 or 3 months, but I'd have to get it approved, something along those lines. Right.
Yeah. So like, to save this deal that I had yesterday, she was trying to cancel, and I incentivized her with a whole year of power for free because her bill's only like $80 a month. Like, it's nothing. And I priced out like a 4-1. It's in Duke, so it's like a perfect freaking deal. But I just told her, I was like, well, look, we had 50 installations last month, so we're able to give one family a whole year of power for free. I normally don't even mention that, but I'd hate for you to, miss out on going solar just because your winter bills are going to be $20 cheaper than, or $20 cheaper with Duke than it would be with solar. Like, she was losing out $60 her first 3 months, so then I just gave her a whole year, and she was like ecstatic.
That's awesome, man. Save the deal. Make sure the setter gets paid. That's great.
Yeah, oatmeal is better than no meal. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Cool. But bro, this has been awesome. Does anyone else have any other questions? Cool. So Ryan, man, thank you for your time. Thank you for being prepared. I thought this was really valuable. I thought this was
Sorry.
great.
I did have a question. I just had a hard time finding the unmute button.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ron, you mentioned how you will throw in like bonuses and whatnot to make the offer, more irresistible. So one thing that one of our closers does, Justin Spee's done it a lot for me, and like he's honestly had a very good close ratio for me. He does energy profiles as soon as he walks into the home, and he's able to give an installation, hot water heater, pool pump, whatever. Do you do energy profiles or like really build value in appliances and stuff?
No, I don't. Is that sauce?
Dude, yeah. No, at least from what I've seen, like it sweetens the deal a lot because you just go in. For him, it's a good transition into the home as well if like they don't want to let you in and like sit down immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like do an energy profile right off the bat. Just lets them like kind of. I'm trying to work it into my clothes as well, but it lets them just go in there and just instantly build rapport and seem like the expert.
Yeah, that's true. So he'd put it into the deal before he starts closing, like that they need a new water heater.
Yeah,
or
so
something?
he walks into the house. He said, "Hey, before we take a seat, I just need to like check out some of the appliances." And he transitions with AC unit, hot water heater inside the garage, pool pump if they have it, and then eventually inside the house, they take a seat. And then if any appliances are super outdated, he just like builds it in and sells an offset.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, obviously you can kind of crank up the price per watt a little bit with that as well. Get the best sun hours. So I don't know.
Yeah.
You could try it.
That's fine.
Adders I would say, are always great. It just brings a lot more value into the whole program. But like Justin, he'll literally get in people's attics and check out their attic installation to like just make himself seem like an expert in the fact of like he's here to help them on more than just going solar. He's not there to just try and do quick business, get paid, everything like that. Like he's there to truly try and help them out, make sure they have the best of everything that they could.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
He goes.
absolutely.
I don't know. You go into people's attics. That's crazy. But yeah, I love.
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely.
It's a good way to differentiate yourself, make yourself seem like more of the professional. I know Sweet was on the call. I don't know if he's still on it, but what we can do is for next week, because we're running these every single Tuesday. I'll ask Sweet if he can go over his process and how he does, that energy, kind of profile before, sitting down with the homeowners. Because again, like that's the whole idea of these calls. It's to collaborate. It's to get different ideas, from people that are, doing well and having success. So I think we can get him on the call next week. But Ryan, I thought this was, absolutely awesome, man. Whatever you're doing, it's obviously working. Again, a couple key takeaways that I got from it. One, it's the attitude. Indifference, right? Hey, I don't really care if you do this with me or not. Again, people feed off of that, attitude. Indifference is huge. Not trying to sell people on savings, also massive. Selling them on the other benefits, and then obviously just being a professional. Just being a professional of your craft.
I forgot to mention with the savings too. Whenever I'm selling them, like I sell them on the predictability, and then I sell them on the control. I sell them on getting hedged against inflation. And I know that I mentioned the downplaying as well, but it's super key to mention all those things like spread apart, not like all at the same time. Like if it's all at the same time, it doesn't really mean as much. But if you spread it apart, then it's a lot better.
Yeah,
you don't want to build value just at the end of the escalator.
Right. No, it's something that has to be like key point. You're just kind of like just hitting on the points the entire process, the entire time, little by little.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you, Ryan. I know everyone got a lot of value from this. I know I definitely did as well. If everybody could, Ryan, Brandon, or Braden, and everyone else on the call, if you guys could just make sure the setters are on the call at 11 o'clock. We're going to have Max do that call. Max is crushing it. Max has had 7 deals closed as a setter in the last 2 weeks. So again, a lot of value to any of the setters. So let's make sure, that we have a solid setter call. All right.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. Ryan, thanks again, brother. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan, you're Keep killing it, bro.